This is the Varus jungle tier list, and there weren't a lot of changes this time around, so well, I'll talk about some of them, some of the things I've learned. I will also talk about some of the questions or, things people keep bringing up to me specifically about X jungler being better or whatever. I'll go into that, and then some minor theory crafting. I'll get to that later. People have pretty much already gotten their ideas and conclusions about Nautilus, and it's almost unanimous. He's freaking strong as hell. And while some people will go, why is he higher than Shyvana? Because Nautilus can gank, and he can gank incredibly well. He can secure ganks on multiple people in the same lane without breaking a sweat. This guy's just insane with his crowd control. Insane with his damage for, building no damage and being just a freaking tank. He's flexible with his builds. He's amazing. Like he's a really powerful character. I can't stress that enough. Sure, he starts off average for his first clear, and some junglers like Shyvana and Dr. Mundo can walk all over him during that time. But as the game progresses, hell, not even before he gets to mid game, he becomes an incredible threat. He's out to kill you. He can gank any lane and burn all their escapes and still secure a really clean kill. He's incredibly strong, and in my opinion, better than Shyvana. Better as a pick. That's still always, a victim of the meta or whatever's going on. So, I already know certain teams are trying to implement him into their lineup, like, making up, team comps around it or team comps to support it. Because, he can get, stopped by a fast jungler, though his transition is incredible. Nautilus is raising up in the tier list, and while I, for last time, compared Maokai and Nautilus together, there's still differences there that I don't know if makes Maokai a stronger jungler. In the fact that Maokai is faster, clears better, and is easier to use and is effective a lot quicker than Nautilus is. Though Nautilus is just a lot more dangerous all around. So that's still up in the air. You can leave me your opinions on that, whether Maokai or Nautilus, who ends up being at the top in the end. Anyways, Hecarim is basically another version of Malphite. They're both sustained. Hecarim through his W, healing himself, and Malphite through just having that passive shield that pretty much blocks all damage and allows Regrowth Pendant to help him out a bit. They both have good sustained damage, Malphite having a bit more burst on him. Hecarim beats him at ganking pre-6, and then they're pretty much the same damn thing at level 6. Hecarim has more mobility and all that good stuff. Malphite has more damage, just flat out burst just because of the burst. So how can you say who's better? Well, at this moment I think Malphite's better because while Hecarim has that crap, has pretty much similar crap to him, Malphite has debuffs. So no matter how gimped Malphite is or her or whatever, all Malphite really has to do is debuff somebody, ult him, debuff somebody, and he's done more than an underfarmed Hecarim has. I'm just saying if both of them were screwed in the jungle. Hecarim can ult in and then die, and then after his ult wears off, there's not much. Same thing as like Malphite, but Malphite has that, attack speed shred, just shred the crap out of it. So, by that standard, it's like this Malphite serves a slightly more purpose or a whole different sector of purpose than Hecarim does. So Hecarim, he's pretty fun. He's a lot cooler, and he's versatile, flexible. He's he's a B+ student. That's the best way you could put it. He's a B+ student. Malphite's also a B+ student, but he's also a B+ student with a motorcycle. So I'm going to use Dr. Mundo's explanation to link just the explanations with the tier list and other things people need to know. Like, Dr. Mundo is what you would call an inexpensive jungler. Certain junglers like Nautilus or Skarner, stuff like that, they're inexpensive, meaning they can function with cheap items, tier 1 and 2 items, gold items, and do their job and do it very well. Then there's more expensive junglers like Master Yi who need to farm the hell up, and so they can actually do something. Which, as you can see, it's a negative. It's like, well, a farm Master Yi is incredibly brutal, but the road to get there kind of makes him unattractive as a pick. Dr. Mundo is one of the least expensive, if not the least expensive jungler in the game. Why do I say that? He can build just durability and then break people anyways. He gets damage by building durability. He gets more bang for his buck. When he buys a health item, it makes his damage go up. Just like he gets too much from just building durability. Therefore, he's inexpensive. He could buy a boots. He doesn't have to buy Wriggle, so he's got money saved up there. Buys Heart of Gold, buys Phage, buys Giant's Belt, and buys Resistances, Visage, or whatever. He can buy a whole assortment of things. He's flexible that way. And it's all just going to make him tankier, harder to kill, and he's still going to pack so much damage into his kit. It doesn't matter. So he's inexpensive, and this is what's making him rise. He's incredibly powerful as it is, but he's also incredibly efficient with his gold. So he's a monster. He's like, there's nothing you can do to actually stop him. And that's what took him even higher in God tier. The fact that he's hard to kill, only has to build durability, thus raising his ability to not die. And then he still deals a lot of damage. The only way they could nerf this or fix this is to force him to buy damage items. Make it so he doesn't get so much damage from just health and defense. He has to actually buy, I don't know, a Brutalizer, Wit's End, or something. Because he can forego any of those items as it is. He can say, I don't need to buy Wit's End because I can just deal damage anyways. I know that the option exists, and it could make for him to buy Wit's End, and he'll still deal more damage, but he doesn't have to. If you make him have to, it's a nerf, and it'd be a good nerf. So there's other inexpensive junglers, like I mentioned, Udyr. He's inexpensive, but he still has to buy. There's still certain things he has to buy. Mundo doesn't have to buy certain items. He can just forego a lot of choices. So he's very broken in that aspect. And that brings in the topic of the expensive junglers, like Jax. He's an expensive jungler. Like, people keep bringing him, why doesn't he go up in tier? It's because, yeah, he's great. He's got damage. His ganking is really painful, and his passive is amazing. Once he reaches level 6, he just starts wrecking crap and destroying buffs and graded versus dragon. But his transition isn't that great. He's not a tank jungler. He's a damage jungler. So he's an expensive one at that. Sort of like Master Yi. He needs to build damage. He needs to farm up and kill things. He got to get ahead. It's like there's not enough just farm the jungle to get him into par of what he would be in a lane, or for him to later on fight somebody who came from a lane. Like a farmed Aurelia from the lane is going to beat a Jax who farmed only the jungle. So. And of course, there's the jungle build that limits you a lot. So that's, even though you don't buy gold, you spent quote unquote stats on your runes and masteries. So that in effect is also spending gold in theory, or whatever you want to think about that. So he's expensive. It's like, he's great. Like, I like using him. He's got damage. He can wreck people. And if it gets to late game, or if you got farmed up and gold, it feels so satisfying breaking people's faces in. But yeah, making him expensive, the fact that he's expensive hurts his transition, and the fact that his first jungle clear and a little around there before he reaches 6 is not that hard to disrupt and actually kill him. It hurts it. Like, he's great, just that whole thing is shaky at best. Now Sion, this is like, he's mid jungler. He's like average. And slightly below average in certain aspects, and then just downright bad in certain aspects, pathing. Yeah, the best way to jungle Sion is by building him AD. You can quote-unquote jungle as AP, but you're quickly going to suffer the consequences of that as he slows down and just bleh. So we're going to assume you're building him AD. Starters, we all know AD Sion, even in lane, is incredibly expensive and pretty much late game. So taking him to the jungle, you're just making that worse. His ganking is great in a way, but the damage on it is not great. His sustain is bleh, all of that is bleh. So he's an expensive jungler with weaker sustain who has to botch his summoner. His summoner spells because he doesn't get his ignite. botches some of the spells, his runes, his masteries. So he's just throwing gold away in order to do something that's not that great, and he's not going to get a good chance of transitioning, and there's a high chance it's just going to backfire and fail on you. So people keep telling me Sion is a great jungler, he should be tier 2, and like they keep promoting him, but no. It's like, well, he can do some good things sometimes. There's other junglers who would have done that better. There's a lot less risk involved using them. AD Sion is gimmicky, late game, expensive, and the jungle just doesn't support that as well as you think it does. Hell, again, that's why there's tanks in the jungle. They're efficient with their gold. They're more efficient than damage dealers. And AD Sion is a damage dealer, and a very expensive one at that. So Sion is staying down there. He's not going up. He's too expensive and too risky at the same time. Alright, so Kale. If I go 1 week without people yelling at me about Kale, then I'm having a vacation then. So, Kale, in the jungle, people keep saying, oh my god, she's so good, but she's not. Like, I kind of am tired of hearing it. It's like, yeah, you can think she's fun and all this stuff. She's got some stuff that she can be good at, but she's not as good as a lot of other characters. She's fast. She's really fast. One of the fastest junglers, but she's unsustained. She's path dependent. Like, you can say, oh, you just go red and stuff. But no, steal blue, and then you can see how bad it goes for her. Steal one buff or steal some experience. She just has issues. Her ganking, she's got damage, but she doesn't have control. Sure, you can say the Q, but that's about it. She'll Q something, like if she gets in range, or if she catches them off guard. But in most cases, people would be, getting the crap kicked out of them for being that bad enough to get hit by the Q. I know it's just a target click, but what I mean is, like, if the mid laner is being careful, there's no chance you're going to get in there and actually Q them without your teammate having done that for you, which in most cases other junglers would have done the same thing anyways. So, not only is she all that stuff, but she's an expansive-ass jungler. Rune-wise, mastery-wise, gold-wise. Add to the fact that she's easy to counter jungle, then it just makes matters even worse, sort of like Jack's thing, but Jack's is just better. You can say, she can kill junglers 1v1 who are high damage. Yes, she can, but let's just, if we're gonna craft theory like, oh, she can, then I'll just say they'll run into a bush and avoid her and then pop back out when her cooldowns are down and then beat her up. They can do that. Or they can just kite her ass around. I mean, yeah, she has her Q, but they've got the bushes, jump back out, or whatever. Invade people. Invading is probably the last thing she wants to do with that crappy mobility, and that W isn't going to help her very much. She's got, if you want to have Kale, then there's no problem jungling with her if you want to, but there's just far better choices, and she's gimmicky at best. I'd rather lane with her in top lane. Mid is a whole different story. I think she's viable top lane, and that whole Nunu gimmick too, that works out too. But yeah, Kale, she's just niche. She's gimmick, not as great as other junglers. Now here's Trundle. There's a lot of things with Trundle that need to be talked about. For starters, I feel he actually needs buffs now, but they're not actual major buffs, they're quality of life buffs. Like, Q needs to be faster, because it kind of counteracts with attack speed in that stupid animation when he jumps and bites somebody has to end before he starts hitting people again. So they gotta fix that up. They gotta fix his animations. His ultimate animation just has to go. You should be able to move while casting it, because let's say you want to cast it on somebody that you're chasing, stops, raises his hand, blasts down, and then they've already left the area. So you end up not using it at all, or you end up using it improperly. So that needs to be fixed, and they should probably tone down the mana cost on his W and E, which is, every other character, like from Jarvan and Jarvan, I should say him because he's the only one that comes to mind, had their manas buffed. I mean, their mana regeneration, their mana pool, and the mana cost dropped a little, so it helped them out a lot. And I feel Trundle needs this crap too, so why not just give it to him? It's like it won't hurt anybody. He doesn't seem to be destroying the meta. And then it comes to the other thing. People will keep going, Stonewall, why is Trundle still god tier with nobody using him? Nobody used him even when he was used in the tournament. He's always been one of the least used characters in the damn game. But right now, the meta doesn't fit him, but that doesn't make him. It doesn't mean he's a crappier jungler. He's a different pick. So yeah, Trundle is not bad. Trundle is great. It's the only thing is people are so stuck up with the whole it's the metagame thing. Yeah, they don't see this. They blind themselves. They're sheep. Trundle's good, but he may not be a pick at the moment. But if the meta were to shift to something that would accommodate him, that would make him a better pick than he is now, then people will shut the fuck up for once. It's just he's got the stats to make it that makes him a great jungler. He's amazing at it. It's just again, he's not fit for this meta, so therefore he's not seen. It happened with a bunch of other characters, and it will happen again and again. You'll see it all the time. The meta will shift. Certain characters that weren't used are higher in the tier list, not only in mine and people's opinions and picks and all that stuff, because they fit the meta again. So there you go. It's like Rise when the tanky DPS thing was, was raging. He was probably the best pick you could make for your mid lane because he's tanky as crap. And remember when teams were all about kiting and poking? Trundle was one of the best to pick for that. He's really good at poking and kite teams. So, again, it depends on the popularity of team comps at the moment. And right now, they don't like Trundle. They may like him some other time in the future. It doesn't have anything to do whether he's a good jungler or not, or some other characters are better than him. Oh yeah, and people seem to be bitching about Alistar's level 2 ganks or level 3 ganks, or just ganking in general, especially when you're level 6 and he can tower dive you. You know what? Shaco's the same goddamn deal. Just ban Alistar and then you don't have to deal with it. But someone, we shouldn't have to waste a ban on him. Why not? You already waste your ban on Shaco all the goddamn time. There's annoying characters like that too. But I'll be civil about it. Alistar's an amazing ganker, yeah. He can also farm the jungle and all that good stuff, but it ends up biting him in the ass. So what should that tell you? It's that, yeah, he can be fast in the jungle and he can farm it pretty well, but he doesn't make any goddamn use of his gold. So, time will undo Alistar. If the enemy team comp doesn't have enough damage and they if their damage is on the moderate level and they picked Alistar, they have even less damage. Usually the tanky jungler packs some damage or has some, packs a lot of damage sometimes. So, and Alistar doesn't have that. Even if he ends up building AD or AP, is lackluster compared to other choices that could have been made. So, what you can do is simply survive versus Alistar. Stop being so damn stupid and I gotta farm these 2 minions. Lose those 2 minions. Better than getting killed by Alistar. So if Alistar isn't allowed to get kills, he'll fall apart quickly. Or you can convince your jungler to stop being a pussy and pick someone that goes and hunts Alistar down. Alistar is not the best duelist. The most he's got is crowd control. He'll knock up the jungler up, and then the jungler will jump on him and start killing him. Just have him hound Alistar. Alistar can't gank. Then you guys win because Alistar doesn't do any damage. He has crowd control, but if the enemy team doesn't have damage, you're going to live. So, Alistar's just the new Shaco. Annoying, you can deal with him. Of course, it's kind of annoying to have to deal with him, but that's what you gotta do. Either ban him or just, or bite the bullet and say, fuck it, you just gotta handle this. Yeah, again, just deal with it.